Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back. Live stream time, Tuesday the 30th December. They're coming quick and fast at you. This last week we've had so many League One lives and don't know what day it is. It's that time of the year where you don't know what day it is. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay in the chat down below. Now, League One live. I think honesty is the best policy here. There's no Jake Tong tonight. Now, for a while, I'm not going to disrespect the man because he's come on every week out of his own time, but there's been a bit of a falling out. I said to him at the end of November, you can stop this winning. Lincoln needs to stop winning. You need to go back to doing what Lincoln do, and that is win one, draw one, lose one. Then they won again. Then they were 2-0 at Blackpool and they drew 2-2 and there was tears. I thought, good, they're starting to listen to me. And then he started to take it too far because they beat top of the league. Then they went away at Stockport. Then they went away at Barnsley. So I'm going to be honest with you. There'll be no Jake Tong on this show until Lincoln go back to doing what I think they should be doing, losing. Because I'm not going to have his face. So I thought I'd bring in someone to lighten the mood up a little bit. And that is Mr. Matthew Farley. Hello, mate. How are you?
Do you know what? I'm two words spring to mind really. First of all, fabulous. You know me. I'm just with my team at the minute, and I'm just so happy this season. But mate, I am honoured to come on here and support you. And by the way, I just want to throw out there as well. And I agree with you. I think Mr. Jake Tong is wonderful at these, right? Yeah. But why have I got this funny feeling that I'm just going to be that little bit more? Do you know what I mean?
It reminds me a bit like, I don't know if anyone's been watching the darts at the minute. Yeah. Lewis Jones is starting to become the new MC after John McDonnell retires, and you're just phasing it in. There might be occasions this year where we're phasing in new co-hosts, because if he carries on, I think he's selfish. In the words of Stu, I think he's selfish that Lincoln are winning all these games of football. Now, Jake's at a family do tonight. He said, could he go? And the first thing I thought was, can he not plan better? Can you not do it, Sunday? Or, no, you're not doing it Sunday. We had a show. If they need to improve, come to me. I'm his boss, technically. How are you, Farley? How's Stevenage treating you? How's Big Doll Reedy?
Mate, I'm very well at the minute. Look, it's just been Christmas time, so I've kind of got over that. You know how everyone does at Christmas, right? You have the big build-up, and then the big day comes, it goes. You eat a lot of food, you drink a lot of alcohol, and you feel, I say better for it. I guess after I don't normally get to have that privilege in my life. The football, I mean, look, a lot of our supporters are mixed with, us as a bunch. I'm ecstatic, as always, 7th by the new year pretty much. So, Stevenage, you've been treating me wonderfully, mate. I just had a pucker weekend in Cardiff, actually. That was a, nice experience. Very cold. Went there for the weekend. First weekend that I've ever had in Cardiff. Nice experience, mate. But I'm looking forward to the new year. I'm looking forward to 2026. By the way, right, mental. Because I remember 2008, 2006. I'm giving away my age a little bit probably there. But no, mate, I'm sorry. How are you? How's your Christmas been?
It's been good. Lots of football. I'm going to be honest with you, I had a bit of a whine yesterday. I never really understand the game in between Christmas and New Year. When you're winning, it's great. And I just think it's not as a fan, it's great as a supporter, but 4 games in 10 days, I just think, especially when 3 of them are away for so many clubs, I think it's a little bit, you've got to play games eventually, but there was 4 months with no Tuesday game, and I didn't really understand it. And I actually spoke to both managers yesterday before the game. I spoke to Alex Bruce as well. And they were both saying it's a soulless fixture. It shouldn't really be played. And again, it's one of those types of games that you could have eased out early in the year. But no, I'm good. Lots of content. We've got another game on Thursday. Keep coming quick and fast. Let's say hello to people. If that Bolton can't keep up with the top 3, we'll get to that very soon. Up the Chickens, big win yesterday. Hello, my mother loves you, so there you are.
Thank you, Mama Nappers. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I didn't read you should be getting a comment soon. But where we will start is Blackpool 4, Rotherham 0, Farley. Now, big win for Blackpool. Ian Evatt now at the 10-game stage. You can slowly start to maybe judge a manager after the first 10 games. And to be fair to him, he's taken 20 points. Only Cardiff City have more points since Ian Everett's appointment. 21, in fact. Blackpool have 20. Lincoln also have 20, but they played one game more than the other two. Big win, big week for the Seaside. It's going away at Wigan just before Christmas and winning 2-0 there. Followed up with a 1-0 home win against Doncaster and a 4-0 win against Rotherham. 3 fixtures that you'd expect Blackpool to try and get a minimum of 7 out of, but they've got 9. They've got 3 clean sheets. They scored 7 goals. And the good thing is they've got strikers scoring goals. Big performance from Inray once again for Blackpool. In the space of a week, they've jumped outside the relegation zone and they are only 2 points above the drop. But now Blackpool are slowly moving in the right direction, are the Seasiders. Now the 3 points above the drop, now after that win. But they are now 13th in the league and joint with 9th in the league, Blackpool, after those wins. They're nearly in a 0 goal difference as well after 4 wins and 1 draw over the Christmas period. And it's not a bad return. Like in the draw, they were 2-0 down against Lincoln and found a way to get a point. Ian Everett's done well since going into Blackpool, hasn't he?
Mate, honestly, I tell you, isn't it crazy, by the way, right? I've just been listening to you talk about the division there. I remember just before Everett took over, but, Blackpool were in the bottom 4. They're 13th. I just find that crazy how a team like Blackpool have had a really, really tough season this season. They've spent pretty much the whole of it in the bottom 4. They've had a change of manager. Everett's come in and they're 13th. And to be honest with you, I've actually been really impressed with Blackpool recently, Nappers. You look at their last 4 games, 3 wins, they're scoring goals. And do you know what? That was a really dominating win yesterday. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Rotherham are in a bit of a puddle at the minute themselves. But that was a dominant win. Some brilliant football, brilliant goals. Probably should have scored more. Sending off in the game. Do you know what? I don't know if you've seen this sending off. A lot of people are saying that they didn't think it was a sending off for the Rotherham. Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? Because when you continuously slide in for the ball like that, you've got to get it perfect or you're going to get a red card. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Blackpool at the minute. Ian Everett, right? I like Ian Everett. I think Ian Everett has, and I know Bolton fans have, had their opinion on Everett and, what he did at Bolton. I think Ian Everett is an extremely experienced manager at the level. And I think Blackpool are going to be absolutely fine. They keep performing the way that they did yesterday. I've got no doubt that Blackpool are going to consolidate. And who knows, you might even see them in the top half given the division. I mean, I've got the statistics up. It's so dominating, 14 shots yesterday, 6 on target. It's good. It's really positive, mate. And I like Ian Everett. I know I've already said that. I just think he's a really, really good manager. And I think Blackpool are going to be absolutely fine. Dominating win for me.
Yeah, and Ashley Fletcher as well, I think, is one player that deserves humongous credit. And I said when he first joined, he needed love. I think he'd only started 18 games across 4 years, played 70 odd all off the bench, and he needed somewhere to come in. That's his 20th League One goal for Blackpool. He's played 62, so he's scoring 1 in 3. It's his 9th goal of the season. And I think the one good thing is with him is he's coming to form. He scored 2 in the cup against Carlisle. He scored away at the New York Stadium. He scored in that 2-2 draw with Lincoln. He got a goal and assist against Wigan where he was superb. He again ran tirelessly against Doncaster. Didn't maybe get the fruits for it. And a goal and assist yesterday. 13 goal contributions for a striker in 21 games. He's been struggling at the level. Blockham's come back and scored in back-to-back games. Josh Bowley, you're now starting to see from him the player who wants he's electric, and he scores for Liverpool, which he did yesterday. Honeyman in his natural position in midfield looks good. Danny Imray's superb. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I thought he was the best player, one of the, if not the best player, the top 3. And I think George Abbott at Notts County was, for me, the best I saw. But Danny Imray was absolutely out of this world for Bromley. And on the eye, when I watched him live, and he was the best player. And Casey was solid as well. He was excellent on Boxing Day. He's great ball down the side into Imray and put across a block to him on Boxing Day. So things are looking positive for Blackpool. The atmosphere is up. 9,000 inside the crowd yesterday at Bloomfield Road. They needed some momentum. They needed a reason to get behind the crowd again. And you can feel that Ian Everett's moving them in the right direction. Look, Blackpool's aim isn't to get promoted this year. Blackpool are a side that go on good runs. They've won 10 in a row and got in the playoffs before. They're on a great run under Critchley, a great run under Holloway to get into the playoffs both times. And when Blackpool are amongst it, they're only 8 points off. You never know, but there's still plenty of work to be done. Rotherham, I do want to touch on, though, Farley. They've lost 5 in a row. They've twice of those to Blackpool, who's on an aggregate score of 7-0. They've lost at Plymouth. They've lost at Bolton, which are two tough places to go, and Blackpool is a tough game. But the man of the performances is worrying. They lost to Huddersfield. They were 3-0 down after the first half. They conceded 13 goals. They were doing a little bit better. They were picking up a lot of points, more so draws, and they were strong at home, but poor away. Then they rectified their away form a little bit. But now, after those 5 defeats, they're in the bottom 4, 24 points collected, 11 defeats. Again, it just looks a little bit worrying for Rotherham United right now. And again, I struggle to see where it's going to improve for them.
I'm worried for Rotherham Nappers. I really am. And don't get me wrong, I know they had a run a couple of months ago, didn't they, when they found themselves, I think, just below Wycombe at the time. I think both, although Wycombe are, still up there at the minute. They had a really good run of games, run of wins. They got themselves up to 10th. And what is it, 4 consecutive losses in a row now? I think it is from the last 5 games. I think the thing for me, when I look at Rotherham, I look at their goals conceded. I see 33 on there. Now, the defence is a massive issue, in my opinion, for Rotherham United. Then at the other end, 22 goals scored in the division. I'm really fearful for Rotherham United. And do you know what? I was on Twitter of their kind of match reaction from the 4-0 yesterday, because again, 4-0 is a really poor result. And I know Blackpool have had a bit of turn of form, but they're worried as well. And a lot of these Rotherham United fans are saying, please get us to January so that we can recruit, because they're fearful, and I can see exactly why. Big job for me. When I was watching, I watched the extended highlights of Rotherham earlier, and it was the amount of mistakes. And look, don't get me wrong, I think some of the Blackpool goals were really good. I love Fletcher's finish. I thought that was a fantastic goal, as you said, Imre getting around the side. But the defending for some of those goals were really poor. I mean, again, I know Blackpool have got some good players. Many a time a Blackpool player is in a yard of space delivering the ball in the box. Just haven't, for me anyway, and look, I could be wrong, they just haven't got defensively the unit that you'd hope for Rotherham United. Rotherham United are a big club, and I know in this division you've got other big clubs. They're a big club, Rotherham United. And I know that they've been back down before and they've come up, but yeah, I'm really fearful for them, mate. I just don't think defensively, for me, they look good enough at all, and I'm fearful.
Yeah, I'm sure he won 3 games in a row last year, didn't he? I think he went away. Well, I think maybe Mansfield, and then he won away at Bolton. I was there that night. And Bolton had 30 shots, Rotherham had 2 and scored 1 and won 1-0. And they got the job, and they were pretty iffy after that. Then started the season poor, then went on that 9-game, 10-game unbeaten run, if you like, and we're all right. But I worry about him now. Matt Amshaw is a good coach, and he's one of those that puts his arm around the other lads, as Jake said over the month on the show. But when you're the main guy, it totally changes. I think Vale went into Stevenage a bit early, didn't he? And right on the road, and it changes a little bit. When you have to be the boss, you've got to change things, and they're no longer your mates, really, and you've got to act like a manager. I tell you who have clicked into gear. Luton. Now, Luton 3, Leyton Orient 0. Back-to-back wins for the Hatters, Farley. 7 goals, back-to-back clean sheets. They've only lost 1 in the last 7. They've won 3. They've drawn 3. There was questions over Jack Wilshere, his appointment. But now, after 23 games, they're on 35 points, just 2 off the playoff positions, scoring goals, getting it right at the Kenny, and 6 points clear now of Wycombe, who are behind them in the table. Good win for the Hatters over Leyton Orient.
Really good win, mate. And it was really funny to see before the match, I saw a lot of the Luton fans on social media saying, please, Morris, score a goal. And lo and behold, he scored the 3rd. So they were absolutely buzzing with that. I don't know if they had a joke around Morris not scoring.
Can I? Shaden Morris plays for Fleetwood, and he's very good. So he's got electrifying pace. He takes on play. He's skillful and always gets in the right areas, but doesn't score enough goals. And that was his issue. And he scored it against Wycombe on Boxing Day. and he scored in back-to-back games. So, yeah, he's a good player, Shane. When he just his final end-up product, but he's in League One for a reason at the end of the day. Luton wouldn't have signed him if he was the finished product.
Well, that's correct, right? But I don't know what the joke was from the Luton fans. Please, if there's any Luton fans, and I'm sure there is, can anyone tell us why there was this thing around Morris before the game? I was reading it, and then I even looked at my phone and saw he'd scored. I told the story to my mates. Oh, look, he scored. Look, dominating win for Luton. 3 excellent goals, excellent football. They're at home as well. Luton Town in this division at home should be the creme de la creme. You're comparing them to Cardiff in a way at home, in my opinion, and that's how they should be. I think Luton have had they've had a tough one, Luton, haven't they? When you look at Luton and you see the amount of losses, they won't be happy with that. Of course, a lot of them become Wilshere came in charge, of course, but that's a big win for Luton. And you just get the feeling nappers now with Luton, and we say this about these clubs, and there's another club kind of later that we're going to speak about in Huddersfield, which are the same. You've had a couple of these clubs kind of around the 10th position who you feel are going to eventually climb up into that kind of higher echelon of the division. And Luton Town fell into that conversation. And I really look at Luton now. We're coming into January. Are they going to be that club that go on a run of wins, as we've seen in the past? When you looked at, was it Derby County a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
They had not a great start. And then, the second half of the season, they took off and got promoted. And I wonder if we see the same thing with Luton. And, by the way, I've got this squad up in front of me, right? I mean, when you look at this squad, you see players like Anderson, who I think's brilliant, by the way. I don't think he gets enough credit. You've got Narky Wells leading the line up top. You've got Morris. You've got Longwick. You've got some big players in this Luton team that really, they should be up the top. I know they've had their difficulties, of course. But look, really good win against Leyton Orient. Don't really know what's going on with Leyton Orient either. I'm sure we're going to talk about Leyton Orient in a bit, but very positive from Luton. Jack Wilshere, he's getting a little bit of form in there now with Luton, and I think that's really important. I think Luton, they've got a very big January. I know that we play them actually in a couple of weeks away, which will be a really tough game. But yeah, big win for me. 3 goals, dominant. And you have a look at the chances and some of the football is fantastic. It's what you want to see from Luton Town in this division. So yeah, big win for me.
No team have conceded more goals on the road than Leyton with 27 goals. That's a worry. Leyton Orient either win or lose on the way. More so lose, and they've lost 9 of the 12 away from home. And they need to rectify that and get going to what Leyton Orient do. They are kind of being a mid-table side at the moment, which Leyton Orient probably this squad is right now. Probably a bit better than 16th. Up in 9 points off the playoffs. Last year, they got 78 points to get in the playoffs, to 50 short of that with 23 to go. They're having to average over 2 points a game to get in that, but they did it last year. They were great. They just, too often for me, have a bad day late. They've got quality, but they've also got a lot of averageness and a lot of mistakes in them. And it comes down from management for me. I love Rich Relland, what he's done at the football club. He's very stubborn in what he believes in. When it goes right, it's great. When it doesn't go right, there's questions to be asked. Questions to be asked about Doncaster, Farley. 4-2 against Stockport yesterday. Defeat again. We'll come to County shortly. 1 win in 16 is a worry. Lost the last 5 games. Played Stockport twice. Hammered at home against Plymouth, where they conceded 5. Got beat away at Blackpool by the odd goal. 4-3 away at Cardfiff, which was a bad one. 15 goals conceded in that time. Yeah, it's a bad run of form for Doncaster, who started the season really well, and you're thinking, they're going to finish mid-table here, but now are 4 points adrift, and they're in that bit of a slug, really, where the League Two clubs that have come up, or the team that you expect maybe to struggle, Wimbledon are finding at the moment. Wimbledon in 9 without a win. Doncaster are struggling. They can't buy a win, love for money, or find any consistency. It's that sticky period where just games keep coming quick and fast. You've got no time to reset, and there's another game's gone, you've lost. Another game's gone, you've lost. And you're playing okay at times. You're scoring goals at times. Again, you look at the stats yesterday: 14 shots to 12, 6 shots on target to 5. The possession Stockport dominated, but Doncaster had chances in the game with it. The post, I think, 1-1 or 2-1 down. They scored 2 goals of themselves. They had opportunities in the game to give away a silly penalty. It's just key decisions in game to Doncaster right now where they are struggling. And again, their run coming up is tough for them. I think they still got to play. I think Bolton Wanderers are coming up for them. sooner rather than later in January. Yeah, Bolton on New Year's Day, Luton at home, and then they've got obviously break in the cup, which might do them well. And then they've got Wimbledon, Wigan, Leyton, Orient, and Bradford. You've got to start winning games of football sooner rather than later.
I completely agree. And I think, look, we as football fans, we look at statistics. I do, and I think we all do. It's very concerning for me.
Stats.
Stats. By the way, is he watching? Is he tuning in? I've sent Stats a message. Hopefully we get a comment by the Stats. But even the Stats would tell you the same. Look, we love statistics. We look at statistics. Doncaster is very concerning for me. And I say that, and we drew with Doncaster at home. But, when you have a look at the statistics, we're talking 13 losses, most in the division joint with Plymouth and Port Vale. 40 goals, Knappers conceded. 40. That's a lot from 23 games. We're talking about the team with the worst defence in the division. And when you look at the game against Stockport, and I'll mention it about Stockport in a bit, the defence just massively let them down yesterday. And almost, I watched the extended highlights at work today, and you could kind of call it a game of both poor defences in a way. And I know Stockport will come on to Stockport later. It felt like that. The goals conceded, mistakes at the back. And by the way, Stockport at the minute, and I know, look, it's a difficult place to go for teams, of course, but they're going through a bit of a weird period at the minute, Stockport at home. And that was a good chance, really good chance to get a result. You're scoring 2 goals away from home and you've come away losing the game 4-2. You've gone to Stockport, you scored 2 goals and you lost the game. Really disappointing for Doncaster. And do you know what it is as well with Doncaster? When I look at their squad, I like Molyneux, and I think Molyneux's a good player. By the way, I thought it was a really good finish by him yesterday. He took it really well. But there's not enough there for me. Jordan Gibson, we've seen Jordan Gibson at our place in the years. I've always thought Jordan Gibson's more of a League Two player, although I think he should have scored yesterday, lobbed the goalkeeper.
He spells, doesn't he, Gibson?
Oh, I know, honestly. It just feels to me, and I might be wrong, and I don't want to upset any Doncaster fans. It just feels like they haven't upgraded the squad that they needed to do for League One, right? And look, I could be wrong. There could be Doncaster fans on here going, no, we made good enough. I look at their squad and I just feel, even in this division that is notoriously known this season for a very open division, that they just didn't do the recruitment that they needed to do to make that step. Yeah, disappointing for me. Yes, you look at the goals. Cole Wooten, I know Wooten's a tough nut to mark, isn't he? But balls in the box, they're letting him beat his marker twice, a goal in. Defence is at curtains for the 4th. Stockport's got a load of room to play through the low block and score the goal. Although, again, Doncaster scored 2 goals, but, scoring 2 goals and losing the game 4-2, I'm a bit concerned. Stockport, however, Knappers, I'm weird one, Stockport, because I know that they've had injuries, right, Stockport, but really interesting one, Stockport, because I have had doubts about Stockport defensively for a good few weeks now. I like Ethan Pye. I think Ethan Pye is a very good player. But
Jake likes Pye as well.
Does he like Pye, does he?
Yeah, he likes steak and kidney.
Good old Jake, Tom. Do you know I'm partial to a steak and kidney? I'll be honest. I am. Are you? Come on, what's your favourite one?
I'm more at chicken bolty, mate.
Yeah. Are you? Mate, chicken bolty's never hit with me. I don't know why.
It's you soft southerners, that's what it is. You can't stand the spice.
Yeah. And do you know what? I'd like to ask Ethan Pye what pie he likes. I don't think they make enough of that, Joe. But yeah, look, win for Stockport.
Where do you live, Farley?
What was that, sorry?
Where do you live, Farley? Talking of puns.
I live in Ware. There you go. Where's Ware? Oh, it's, Hertfordshire. But by the way, just before I speak on Stockport, everybody thinks I live in Stevenage. Everyone. And it's hilarious. And they're like, oh, you live in Stevenage. And I'm like, well, I don't actually. I live in Ware, which is actually a really nice place. But you've been. Yeah,
it's lovely, yeah. I was like, where's that?
Yeah, where's Ware? That's like the joke I've had since I was a kid. But no, look, Stockport County, 4 goals, 3 points. You want to be scoring goals when you Stockport County, especially at home. Again, I think if I've got a criticism of Stockport County, defensively, conceding 2 goals. When you look at their last 3 games, we scored 3 against them there. Lincoln have scored 2. Doncaster have scored 2. You want to see them as, defensively being much better than they are. But the thing about Stockport County is when you look at their squad and you look at the quality in Ollie Norwood, you got Fevrier who started I really like Jaden Fevrier. I think he's a good player. Luton, you've got Mothersill, you've got some good players up top, so they're always going to score goals. But defensively, I just don't know if that's going to let Stockport County down this season. Their defence.
Yeah,
but,
they only conceded 42 or 43 goals last year, conceded 29 already, so I get your point. Obviously, Stevenage won there, but unfortunately for Stevenage, because they only took 200 fans, the 3 points got taken off. Fans got to win games. On Stockport, you mentioned Wootton. He's only one goal away from matching last season's tally. He's been a bit more of a threat. Sometimes he's been a threat in his own box. He scored a couple of own goals, hasn't he, this season, to say the least. But he's a good player, and he's starting to become that 20-goal season striker. And we mentioned Stockport not being great. Some respect, because they've won half the games. They've won 11 games this year. They've got 38 points without being anywhere near their best, which I think Stockport will go on a spell this year, as they always do in the Challenger, where they go and win 3 or 4 in a row, and you think, Stockport are here now. And Stockport, I could see Stockport getting really close to the top 2 at one set. Give it till February, March. This is my prediction. I've not even thought about this. I think Stockport will go on a charge and beat that team. Now, it's great talking about Lincoln, because we've got no horrid bloke, right?
It's not that time, is it? It's not.
It is that time. Now, we've got no horrid bloke to join us. We've got no...
no! Stitch up. This is stitch. Do you know what? I'm going to call it right now. And I said it. We had a FaceTime last week. The player final will be Lincoln v Stevenage. Call it.
How are you, pal?
I'm good. How are we, Jen?
This doesn't count as one of your appearances towards your contract, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Full appearances only, mate.
Yeah,
so I tell you what, right? I'll pay for your Wembley ticket when you make a full podcast appearance. Because guess how many you'll make across the season? None, because you're not in for the first minute.
Yeah. Well, by the way, am I getting a cut from Mr. Tong's purse tonight? Is that a thing, or?
I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to look all the way over my shoulder, just trying to find my Stevenage on the list. Hi guys.
Hang on. Couple of games in hand. I know we've got to win them, but
you don't look like you could win anything at the minute, Vale.
Well, that's 2 wins and 4 in the last time. We're doing all right. We're doing okay.
Can I ask 11, Vale, you could also say.
Can I ask you a question, actually, Jay? Just your brutal honesty, right? How do you think I'm filling in tonight? Am I doing all right? Am I doing well?
Yeah, you're doing well, mate. Yeah, but I've definitely been watching. Yeah, you're doing really well.
Yeah, he's getting worried now, isn't he? He's getting worried.
I'm coming.
Jay, that contract might have to be signed, pal. I might be rejecting it.
I'm coming for that job, Mr. Tong, and Stevenage are coming for your team. It's all crazy.
So, Jakey boy, Lincoln, 13 wins this season. You've drawn 5, you've lost 5. You won 16 last term. You're just 3 away from matching it. You got 61 points last year. You're 17 points away from matching that. 78 points got Leyton into the playoffs last year in a very competitive League One, probably more competitive than this year. You'd say, wouldn't you? A better League One last year than it was this year, certainly. Obviously, maybe take Birmingham Wrexham out, which you have done, is probably the same, really. But a big win away at Barnsley, a place that you normally, just go and score goals. That's for fun.
That's what we do, mate.
But the last 5 games, you've taken 13 points. That draw away at Blackpool's not looking too bad. Just one question. When will this pain end?
Probably New Year's Day when Huddersfield give us a battering.
And Jake Tong is back.
I don't want it to end, because the form that we're on at the minute, I genuinely feel like we could beat anybody. Scoring goals all over the pitch, good goals as well. They're not just... I watched Fowler did a prediction, didn't he, for last night, bless him. Said Lincoln are the biggest hoofball team in League One. All they do is play it long. We probably out-footballed Barnsley last night. They probably played more long balls than we did. I don't know what the stats are. I know Farley likes to look into the individual stats. But yeah, no, I thought to be honest, it was comfortable. Last night was comfortable. We got in front really early. Great ball in from Ivan. First goal contribution in the Lincoln shirt in the league. Great header from Tom Hamer, and it was comfortable. We could have scored again. Dom Jeffries put one over. They never threatened. George didn't have a save to make in the first half, but like he didn't at Stockport either. And Yeah, it was comfortable. Then I think after half time, I think Conor Hourihane had just had a go at them a little bit, and they come out with a little bit of intensity. They moved the ball a bit quicker. Keeler Dunn was becoming more of a problem. Reyes Cleary was getting a little bit more space on the left hand side. And then we go up the other end, and Ricci does he doesn't score tap-ins. I don't think the bloke's ever scored a tap-in in his life.
Was it that good? Right.
Yeah. Weak foot off the crossbar. It's not bad, is it? On the volley as well.
Not bad.
It's not even his best goal this season, probably. Free kick away at Posh. That was decent. But yeah, no, it was good. I thought it was. I think it was a good team against a team out of shape, and I think I expected us to win yesterday going into it. To be honest,
I thought it was really dominating, mate. To be honest with you, I thought it was a great win. You know, there's one thing, and I say it about all the good sides. The top sides find a way to win games like that. And what I loved about that win was really comfy, 2-0, proper solid away win, proper solid away performance, great goals. Mate, by the way, what an absolute banger. But I honestly, I watched it. We were driving back from Cardiff. I watched it at the services and I was like, what a goal. He, by the way, I really like him. I think he's a fantastic.
He is.
Honestly, I said it to you when we played you. I love the fact he's lean, he's tall, he gets forward, he's such a good player, mate.
And to think he was available on deadline day for free, like it's mental how he's not found a club. But
crazy.
Yeah, no. It's been a good festive period. Like we normally have rubbish Decembers. I think that's what I normally joke about and say we turn to crap in December. If you look at our record this December, we've won 4, drawn 1, got unbeaten in December.
You've beaten all the top teams.
We beat Cardiff, Stockport, we beat Barnsley twice.
Yeah.
Point away at Blackpool. It's been decent, but January's no easier, is it? I think we've got Huddersfield and Peterborough, 2 informed sides in the next couple of games over the next couple of days, both at home. So, you know, with a home foot. I remember, Nappers, we spoke, didn't we, after the Stockport game, before the Stockport game, Lincoln have to need to replicate that home form away from home. Going away to Stockport and Barnsley and taking 6 points is pretty nifty. So I think that's good.
Can I just ask from a Lincoln point of view? It feels like I'm getting someone I've never spoken to.
From a Lincoln point of view, Nappers, you're a Lincoln fan.
Yeah. At what point does it become exciting? So you're obviously excited, you're very happy, and when you're winning a game of football, it's on your mind, is it constantly of, oh my God, we could do that, we could go and do something and get in the player. The good thing is about it, you are 8 points clear of 7th, which is really, yes, they've got game in hand, but even the next team you're 9 points clear in front of as well. What point do you think it starts, or has it yet, becoming Lincoln a real threat? Are Lincoln that now? Have they done that? Because we're 23 games in now, you can really assess the table because you pretty much played
everyone nearly.
Everyone bar Huddersfield, which you're going to play eventually as well. But you can pretty much say that because no one wants to play Lincoln, do they? Really?
No. So it's not. I've said it for years, Nappers. It's not an accident that we are where we are now. It's years of progression and selling your best players, and that's what you get to. And this is what team. Stevenage. Well, in a couple of years, if you sell your better players, Farley, like if you sell Harvey White. And if you sell this Rio Doherty, who's been linked with a couple of a big move, you've got to sell those players to progress, because once you sell them, you then unlock a new player in the market. You can go, Stevens can then go and pay fees for players. Like Lincoln have just gone and put 450 grand down on a left back. Never in my life have Lincoln ever done that before. We've gone and splashed 400 on. So, am I believing? Yes, I am believing. We are a real outfit. I don't think anyone's better in the league at what we do. We bully teams. We're dominant, and we're very good out of possession. And I think that helps us. The one thing that I think
was that Lincoln being the best at something. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got it. Best sausages, best cook, best cathedral,
best shortbread.
For sure.
I'll be honest though. Not the best turkey sandwiches because the Instagram picture that you took last night at Barnsley, I was showing all the boys about. Very impressive. And
that was hog roast, not turkey.
Oh, was it hog roast? Was it?
Yeah, it was good. When you go to Barnsley, Farley, I don't know if you've been this year.
January soon.
Popeyes.
Go on. Here we are. Go on. Make the joke.
Hey.
Go on.
When do you go to Barnsley Fleet?
We've played them, mate. We've already played them. We're League One.
Did you win?
There's always one every episode.
Drew.
Oh, you drew. Yeah.
Lost some pens. That doesn't count as a defeat. But when we beat Luton on pens, that counts as a win.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is that. Mate, it looks unreal though. That hot roast, Dave.
Yeah, it was more, mate. They normally have crackling in there as well, but they didn't last night. But I'm definitely believing. How can you have the month that we've had and not believe that you're going to go get promoted? Right now is our best chance as ever because the league there are a lot of teams underperforming. We are of a good enough quality to get promoted. I think you've got, we said at the start of the season that the league didn't look as strong on paper and there was an opportunity for a team do you know what I mean? We said it, didn't we? Like Lincoln, like Leyton Orient.
I was saying at the League One player final about Stevenage. It's going to be there.
Well, I remember him.
Any player had signed anywhere.
But yeah, no, I am. I'm excited. I'm as you can imagine, games cannot come quick enough at the moment.
With on Barnsley just quickly now, lost 4 of the last 6 actually. They're only 2 points above the drop. Polly, how worried are you for Barnsley? Because for me, they have been a side that started off well and they had games in hand. They were games in hand FC. They took that narrative off Bolton from a couple of years ago that they were games in hand FC. Now, but they had a small squad and they were only a couple of injuries away from a crisis. Rhys Cleary is rumoured to be, a bound of championship interest after a good 6 months in League One. But they've slipped down the table just a little bit with a few bad defeats or back-to-back bad defeats. 2-0 up against Mansfield and with Lincoln to come, you're thinking if we get 4 points, it's great. They've ended up with none and they conceded 5 since. How old are you for Barnsley?
I honestly, I can't wrap my head around Barnsley at all. Do you know what I call them? I was having this chat with someone the other day about Barnsley. I call them the hot and cold side, right? And the reason why I call them that is Barnsley can always get a brilliant result, right? But they always get a really poor result. I feel like with Barnsley, there's no consistency, right? And if you actually have a look at their form, 8 wins, 8 defeats. I call them the hot and cold. Always, with Barnsley, they'll always win a really poor game. They'll win a really good one. I don't know about Barnsley at all. I don't think when I look at I've got the lineups in front of me yesterday, and look, I could be wrong here. It's just the information that I'm going off. Right, they've got Keeler Dunn as the leading striker in yesterday's game. I really like Keeler Dunn. I think Keeler Dunn's a really, really good player. But is he really good enough to be the lone striker in a side? I always thought Keeler Dunn was more of a 10 or a more.
Do you know what I mean? Goals, hasn't he? Keeler, has he got 11?
He does score goals. He does.
You feel like he needs a vocal point with him. I get you.
Yeah, and
vocal.
Look,
Vocal
point.
Probably that. Shut up.
Damn number.
Yeah, good vocal point up there.
And this time you're missing a McGoldrick. McGoldrick came on the bench yesterday.
They weren't missing McGoldrick at all. He was rubbish.
He came on in the 87th minute, mate.
The thing with Barnsley is, and Farley, you've said it there, they're like at the top end of the pitch. They're like a sports car, right? You got Keeler Dunn, Reyes Cleary, young lad, can't remember his name, Kelly. They got from West Ham, who was at Donny last year. And they've got Phillips that play at the top end of the pitch, and to an extent Connell because he's sort of like a number 10, an 8 that can go further forward. And then defensively, they're like a clapped out Fiat, like a Fiat Punto or something like that, an awful car, Peugeot 208 or whatever, where the defenders are they're awful. And do you know, I'm really surprised. I mean, you saw him last year, Farley, but Murphy Cooper, I thought he was a top keeper for Stevenage last year. Looks a shell of the man that he was under. And I think that just shows how a defence can make a goalkeeper look better because he played under a really good, consistent back four at Stevenage last season, whereas this year he's playing in front of they're swapping the back four all the time, aren't they? They're bringing Dijavinier on, they're playing Earl at left back and centre back, they're playing Shepherd, they're playing Tenai Watson, played left back when we last played them, and then played right back last night. So they're not consistent enough. And Barnsley always give away opportunities. No matter who you are, Barnsley will always give you an opportunity. And this is what I was speaking to a Barnsley fan before the game. He said, if we don't score two, we ain't got a chance in it. We ain't got a chance because we know we're going to concede. We're going to give opportunities away. So that's with Barnsley, and they are inconsistent, but they have the firepower. If they can shore up at the back, they have the firepower to get to somewhere good in the league table, promotion maybe, or playoffs or whatever. But it's just that back line consistently lets them down. Thanks
for that, Jake. Now, do you want to stay for Stevenage or do you want to head off?
Oh, I'm going to go, actually. But I will just say one thing. Beating Cardiff's not for everyone, Farley.
Oh, stop it. I love him. Really. He's good. He's cool.
Yeah, you can keep him, mate. You can have him if you want. Great to see him. Now, Farley, it's your turn. Cardiff 2, Stevenage 1. Go on, I'll let you start and I'll come in. There we are.
Yeah. Oh, where do I start? Right. So, look, I think, first of all, going into this game, Nappers, for us, I think we looked upon this as, number one, a bit of a free hit, right? And I think for us, and I'll talk about some of the things that we want to see in January. I think when we look after Cardiff, we see Plymouth, we see Orient, we see Exeter in the next four matches, 3 games from the next 4. So I think for us, it was a bit of a free hit last night. So we just wanted the team to play well. Look, I think we knew that it was going to be extremely difficult to get a win at Cardiff, although Cardiff are and have been known to concede goals at their place this season when you look at the Burton, Bradford, Doncaster matches. So we knew it was going to be difficult, and, they've got some fabulous players when you look at Robinson and Willock and, I think I'd love to sit here and go, I felt we deserved the point, and I did. But when you look at the statistics for the game and you see the kind of possession dominated by Cardiff, we didn't retain the ball in the match, really, especially in the first half. But don't get me wrong, I think the kind of setup for us yesterday was to kind of frustrate Cardiff. And when we didn't have the ball, get behind the ball, make it difficult, make it frustrating for Cardiff. And I felt we achieved that. When you look at the first half, we hit the bar in the very first minute, started the game really well. And then Cardiff, as they do, they've got some top quality players. They move the ball quickly. They move it from one side to the other. And, and I thought we managed the first 45 minutes really well. Got the half-time 0-0. Brilliant. That's what we came for. Second half, I thought we improved a lot and we made the game more competitive. Got the goal with your ex-man, Phoenix, who, what a goal. What a goal.
Goal for once.
Oh, mate. And you probably saw this at Fleetwood. I know he was a bit of a wing-back role for you guys, but cutting in on that right.
All yours.
With yards of space. I mean, we said it in the preseason. Beautiful goal. Limbs galore it was. But at that point, you're thinking, it's a bit of a smash and grab, isn't it? We've gone 1-0 up in the game. And I actually think it woke Cardiff up, because I actually think in the second half, at the start of it, we started really well. And we come out, we started the half really well. It woke Cardiff up. Couple of things I do want to mention. I thought their winner was offside. And a lot of Cardiff fans are going to hate me for saying this. We said it when they scored it. He looked offside. And I've seen the pictures back, and he was. Very disappointing for that to get given away, because we really felt that we worked so hard to deserve a point in that game, and that was robbed. We had a goal disallowed. The referees pulled a foul on Trot. Well, we don't even know what it was given. I mean, when we watched the highlights back, it was actually a Cardiff player.
Listening to Vale, mate.
Oh, so yeah, I know. It's literally like the interview, isn't it? Yeah. He bumped into the goalkeeper, and then he's giving it on that, and Pidge scores from a tight. It just felt like we just weren't getting a rub of the green in those situations. But look, you've got to give credit to Cardiff. They're on a brilliant run at the minute where they've won consecutive matches in a row. I know that obviously they lost against Lincoln away within that period, but yeah. They're a very good side. When you look at their team and you see Robinson, you see Willock, you see Colwell, you see Salech, these are pretty much championship players. I mean, Robinson that has played championship football for a lot of his career. These are top quality players. Look, I'm not disappointed with us at all. I know people are saying we've got to score more goals and we want to see more chance creation, and we will get that and we will improve on that. But in terms of the game yesterday, I think 2-1 was a fair result. I felt like we got stitched up a little bit by the referee in those moments, and I felt because of that, you'd love to see us get a point. But look, it's a tough place to go, and Cardiff are a very good side.
I think one thing that people need to realise, obviously, Stevenage are a side that will go not to lose games of football and will go to frustrate, and their approach will be called negative, but it's pragmatic for a reason, and they've got to go against sides, especially like Cardiff, with being strong defensively, being hard to play against, sticking a game for as long as you can at 0-0 and try and nick one, which they've often done at the start of the year. And since the Luton game, they have lost the way a little bit, but I don't think they have in a way, because they've played 11 games, they've drawn 5 of them. So if you turn a couple of those draws into wins, you don't really mention in that. They have only won 2, but they've only lost 4. Now, you could go on those 4 games. They've lost 5 games, Stevenage, this year, all by 1 goal, which Stevenage are in every single game for the way they play. That they won't get battered, you know that, but they're going to be with. I think one thing you can always say with Stevenage, and when Fleetwood got relegated, this is why we got relegated. With 15 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go, I used to say, well, there's nothing here for Fleetwood to try and win. You want to be in a situation with 10 minutes to go where you can either win, lose, or draw. And that can be, and Stevenage are that. So I think you give credit for that. When fans are saying, and I made this comment on Wimbledon against Cardiff, I don't word it very carefully. When people say Stevenage deserved the point, on the stats wise, Cardiff were the better side and deserved 3 points.
100%.
But Stevenage, for the underdog that they are, obviously they're doing well this year, going away at Cardiff, just shy of 20,000 home supporters, and on Monday night deserves humongous credit, by the way. A good side, top of the league, great at home. They've won 9 of 11 before yesterday at home. That's 10 of 12 now. And when you defend for so long, you go a goal and you can see, and it's 1-1, and you're in the game and you're battling. And for 80 minutes, you've defended like soldiers and you're 1-1. You can sometimes feel, as a fan of the underdog, you can feel you probably deserve something because of the graft that your team has put in. So I think that's what I think that's why Stevenage fans will be feeling that way. And for the graft, they probably deserved a little bit more. But Stevenage can do that against sides that they are similar with, or maybe a little bit worse. But Cardiff are on another level, and they can pass you and frustrate you and find a way.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, right, and I really want to mention this if I can on this platform. That's, by the way, mate, my favourite platform. I just want to throw in there. Of course it is. I really want to clarify this with, and I know we've got fans of ours watching this tonight, and I was having this conversation on the way home last night. When we came into this season, the goal was we didn't want to be one of those clubs that comes up to League One and you kind of consolidate to 16th and below every season. We wanted to try and become a Wycombe, and we wanted to make that step and become a top half League One team. And we created that in the summer, and we've seen the proof of that this season, right? And I think what's happened with us, really simply, we've had a brilliant season. We lost 1 game in 2.5 months, won our opening 4, unbeaten at home till December. Brilliant squad, squad depth and the wins and the performances. And we got to a period, as you do in League One, because it's a really top division, right, where teams suss you out a bit, and you have to kind of evolve and adapt as the season goes on to then win matches again and pick up points. And we did that away from home. If you go and have a look at the form, our away form in the last 5, we've got 2 wins, 2 draws, just 1 defeat. Our away form has improved, and that's because we've played a different system, a 3-5-2. We've evolved, we've adapted, and we've started playing well and picking up points. At home is actually our issue, because teams are coming to our place. They've sussed us out. Doncaster, Burton, Cardiff played exactly the same way. Cardiff was a bit better than the other 2, right? And we haven't evolved and changed the system, and teams are picking up points. And we're at that point where we need to change the way that we set up away from home to start getting results again. Also, we're just shy of a couple of top kind of caliber players in the final third. We have Jamie Reid, but just around Reedy with him, we don't have really any top caliber players. And that was very evident in the game yesterday. we get the ball forward, and it's a little bit like, where do we go with the ball now? There's no top. It's not like you're watching a Lincoln who have got Moylan who are going to get the ball. Do you know what I mean? We're just missing a couple of high caliber players in that area. If we get to Jan and we can recruit some really good level players in the final third along with Reedy, I've got no doubt, mate, that we'll be in the top 8. I've got no doubt because defensively we're brilliant. We were brilliant yesterday. It's just some quality in the final third. If we recruit that, we'll be top 8. If not, we'll still be in the top half. It's what we created in the summer. But I think a lot of our fans are kind of like getting into the, not all of them, but getting into the mindset of, we're not scoring many goals, we're slipping. It's like, just calm down. We're fine. We're doing all right. We just need to recruit certain caliber players in certain areas to get us winning and scoring and picking up points consistently, really.
Sometimes you create your own success, really. And
and
unfortunately, that if Stevenage were to finish 8th in the league, it'd be a great season for them overall. And you mentioned goals. They've only scored 5 less than Bolton Wanderers. And if you 8 less than Stockport, these are playing 1 more. You don't need, but then you can say you've got better defence than most in the playoffs. So that makes up for it, really. On Cardfiff, just quickly before we move on, because we're conscious for time, Salik, top goal scorer. I think it's 11 for the season. It's an instant goal, good finish from the lad. Has to score it and does. It's good player. And I think he's 20-odd goals now since coming to the football club. Burton 0, Wigan 2. Wigan, big win for them. Their first win since the start of the month against Burton. Now, I mean, a bit of a sticky run in between, but they needed 3 points. They got 3 points. And Wigan, whenever I think Ryan Lowe's come under any stick or needs a win, he finds a win. Then he'll go 3 or 4 games without a win again. Then he'll find a win. They've won 7, they've drawn 8, they've lost 7. They've conceded 25, but they've also scored 25. They're at 29 points. They've won 2, they've drawn 2, they've lost 2 in the last 6. It is typical mid-table behaviour. Wigan are 12th. And I think if we can break into the top 10, slowly play a bit better football, rekindle the relationship with the supporters and the manager that I don't think they've got right now, I think it'd be a good one. For Burton Albion, I am a bit worried for Burton because I think they've got 9 or 10 senior players. They are missing very much key players. They've got a great win against Northampton, which was a big win. Burton just need to get through these next few games. They looked absolutely exhausted on the feet from the bits I saw yesterday. They've got to go away at Reading, long journey on New Year's Day, followed by a trip to Plymouth Argyle, which is also a long trip for them. And then the have a bit of a breakthrough for the FA Cup through Doncaster's involvement. So hopefully we can get a few back for the visit of Huddersfield. But that's a tough game. You just think Burton at this moment in time, Foley, just need to get through and get a few bodies hopefully in January. I don't know how they are for budgets. Can they bring anyone in? But you just feel that 27 points, they just need to pick up as many points as you can as quickly as they can so they don't get dragged in.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Nappers. I think, look, Burton, we played Burton a couple of weeks ago. I agree with you. I do fear a little bit for Burton. I look at Burton's squad. I like Tyree Shade. I think he's a very good forward player. I like Beasley. I think they've actually got some players going forward that I really like in the final third. I look at their back line. I see Terence Van Kooten, who we know very well, who I kind of felt looked half the player that he used to be when he was with us, Terence. And I looked at Burton defensively and really, really feared for Burton. I really did. And yeah, Wigan at home as well. You would have hoped that was a really good opportunity for Burton to get a result because, you know, if you look at Wigan, they lost their last 2 games. I was getting a bit worried for Wigan, actually. They're going to lose 2 in the match. You think, oh, here we go. They're going to slide down the division again. And they go and pick up a win like this. Obviously, they had to wait to the 64th minute to open the scoring against Burton. But very fearful for Burton. It feels like, again, Nappers, right? And I said it earlier about Doncaster. I feel like Burton, every season, they're just fighting water to stay up every year. And it's the same every year. And it just feels like with Burton, they just can't step out of that mould of, you know, can we build a squad in the summer? Can we get out of the bottom 5, bottom 6? Can we try and make progress to 12th or 13th? They just can't do it. And I actually think January is really important for them. I think they need to recruit defensively. I think they need, do you know what I think Burton need? Because they've got Shade, they've got Beasley. I think they need, and I know obviously they had Webster for a part of this, I think they need another attacking quality player up there behind in a 10 or in a, you know, I think they're missing that behind Shade and Beasley because they can score goals, them two. But Yeah, poor loss to Wigan. I thought that would have been a game that Burton would have looked to have at least got a point in. To lose it 2-0. Yeah, a bit disappointing for me, mate, if I'm honest.
Yeah, need to get played. Bettinelli was outstanding again for the Latics. Burton need players back. Burton fans, keep your comments coming. Big win for Huddersfield at home against Northampton. Now, Northampton, similar to Burton, that are on the same amount of points. They are sandwiched with each other on 27 points. Now, they're doing, in terms of points, after 22 games, quite well. But the nature of how close the league is, one defeat and you're in the bottom four. That is it, because of how close this league is. For context, 3 points separate Plymouth Argyle, who are in 21st, and all the way up, Wycombe on 29. 3 points. So you win 2, and Blackpool have all of a sudden sliding same amount of points as 9th. They were 23rd just 7 to 10 days ago. And this is, you go on a good win, and especially around this time of year, where there's still another 2 games to go. Bit of a break for the FA Cup for some, but you just need to get to you just need to sandwich your points together, really. I think this year, probably 50 points might not keep you up, which Plymouth Argyle once went down, I think, with 50 points. In 2018-19, I believe it was, they went down with that amount of points. But we're talking about Northampton, who, again, they've had a tough Christmas period, losing at Burton, and then Huddersfield away. It's not a kind fixture. Joe Lowe and Radulovic with goals for Huddersfield. Big win for the Terriers that you would say needed it, because now that's 3 wins on the spin. They're scoring goals. I think that's 10 goals over the Christmas period. Up to 42 goals. They're in the playoffs. Now only 7 off the top 2. Play Lincoln on New Year's Day. But with Huddersfield, they've had a flash in the pan, and then all of a sudden they drop down, don't they? They started off well. They hit a wall. Went on a good run again and hit a wall. So for now, Huddersfield is about kicking on, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Look, really straightforward, solid win for Huddersfield. Thought they played really well. Really good goals scored. Actually missed a couple of really good chances in the game to score more as well. Look, Huddersfield are on a run. They've got a couple of draws to start it. I do believe they've won 3 games in a row now, Huddersfield. So they're coming into a bit of form. Grant had a little bit of stick, I remember, a few games ago before the Christmas period. Good that they're winning at home as well. I know that was a concern at one point for Huddersfield fans. So, look, they're into the playoffs now. Again, I said it, similar to Luton. Huddersfield are a team that you expect to be up there. You know, you see Alfie May, you see Taylor, who, by the way, I don't actually think played yesterday. Everyone was like, where's Taylor? I mean, how's he not in the side? I know a few Huddersfield fans were a little bit shocked to see that going into the game, I believe. But straightforward win. I think you're right about Northampton. Look, the division is so crazy. I actually agree with you. I would normally say 50 points should keep you up easily.
Is that the 40-point rule in the Premier League?
Yeah, that's it. Right. And I say, oh, mate, I say it every year, 50 points and you're there. This season, I think you might need 51, 50, just over a bit, because if you have a look at the bottom 4 nappers, right, you've got Plymouth, and I know 3 of those bottom 4 teams have all played 23. Port Vale have played 22. 26 points Plymouth are on. Exeter, 26 points. This is halfway to go. Notoriously, you would like to see, well, I say Plymouth improve. They probably will after January. And
they haven't improved though, Plymouth, though, haven't they?
They have. Yeah,
they've won, I think, 4 of the last 8.
Yeah, and they score goals.
13 points. And by the way, Exeter, for their current PPG, are on 54. And that would only survive them on goal difference.
Mental.
That is how close this league is. It could come down to goal difference this year. But we've got a long time to go yet. And we have long guns. I think you've seen teams slide down, aren't you?
Yeah, we have. And what I will say about Northampton, really tough 2 games coming up. I do believe they've got Stockport and Bolton back to back. So this is a really, really big period for Northampton, because, as you say, they're in that part of the division. They're only 1 point clear. They've lost their last 2 games. Look, they've just got to try and nick results in those games. It's going to be difficult, and then they've just got to try and hit a bit of form. But yeah, look, they need a couple of wins just to get over the 30-point mark and get in a comfortable land. But this division, mate, is so difficult that, they're a point clear. You know what I mean? But
Northampton, I said about goals, and they are having a goal a game. They do come up with trumps with a win, Northampton, where you probably need it. They won a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? On that Friday night, and then now you're looking at it where they beat Wimbledon. That's a big win for them. Those two games are massive, but they don't have enough shots in times. And you're looking at Wimbledon, you're looking at Doncaster. Can Northampton be another side that slide? And I think this year what you'll see 4 clubs go down that go on a slump. And it's who doesn't slump. I think if you stay consistent over the course of 46 games, and what I mean by that is Exeter consistent right now. Now, Exeter haven't been brilliant, but Exeter can go away. Exeter have won 3 away games this season. Wycombe won 1-0, had 1 shot on target. We went Lincoln, 1-0. They won yesterday away at Wimbledon, 1-0. Yeah. And normally Exeter slump. This year, they haven't really, they've lost a lot of games, Exeter. We'll get to them in a minute. But they haven't slumped. And they've only conceded 20. They've got a plus goal difference, which is massive. We'll bring you in on this one because result of the week, result of the match week, you could say.
Yeah.
Bolton 0, Mansfield 1. Bolton's home record is gone. They haven't lost home yet this year. Mansfield, if you'd have asked a Mansfield fan being 2-0 down away at Barnsley, you're going to take 6 points out of Barnsley and Bolton. Right, you're the most positive student fan ever.
You're asking the wrong person.
You're 2-0 down away at Barnsley. You've got Bolton up next. You're mid-table in League One. You probably still are thinking, we'll get 6 points.
Yeah, well, surely if that was me, I'd be like, do you know what? Just do a smash and grab. And guess what?
They got a corner first half.
They did. We got a corner. We got a throw in the game. Can I just say, actually, the biggest smash and grab game I think I've seen this season, by the way, like how Bolton didn't score in this match, Snappers, honestly. But look, you've got to say fair play to Mansfield. It's, they went about a bit like what we tried to do at Cardiff. They tried to get behind the ball. They tried to get the result over the line, right? And they nicked a goal from a corner. By the way, really good stuff from Rhys Oates. I like Rhys Oates. I think Rhys Oates is a really good player. I've always liked Rhys Oates when he was in League Two. Yeah. What I love about him, he gets in behind, he runs off the shoulder, he does the dirty things. He's good in the area. Good finish from the corner yesterday. But Bolton, they'll be really disappointed with that. I mean, when you look at these chances, honestly, that Bolton had, I don't know how Bolton didn't hit the back of the net twice. But yeah, look, fair play to Mansfield again, smash and grab result, and two unbelievable results. For Mansfield to go to Bolton and win, given Bolton's form, really impressive. Looking at Mansfield now, right in the division, 11th, 29 points. Again, we know that this division is close. They're coming off 2 wins. They've got 8 wins in the bag. They've got, by the way, let's address it. They've got a couple of games in hand and a couple of teams. Can kind of Mansfield now get a couple of wins after this win and get themselves into the top 8? Mad league. But yeah, look, fair play Mansfield. Again, I call it a smash and grab because Bolton, and I know Carl, if he's watching, will be going, how on earth did we not score in that game yesterday? Dear Lord. But look, fair play Mansfield, big win. I
think Mansfield were in the bottom 4 going into the Christmas period. Now, they did go for a bit of a bump in the road, did Mansfield. Now, one thing I will say about that, because the big game for me is where they lost to Northampton. That was a big loss for them, away from home. But then they had Huddersfield at home, which they lost. Cardiff away, which they lost quite convincingly. They lost a narrow-minded game against Bolton, which was literally the horrible weather that day. They drew away at Wimbledon. Now, both sides that day were struggling and needed a win. And it felt like a 6-pointer. And the way they both played, a point for Mansfield was better than for Wimbledon. Then they had Stockport where they lost 2-1, where it was literally, again, Stockport won it with 21 minutes to go. Then they went into it, then all of a sudden they're in the bottom 4 because how close the league was, they got dragged into it. Yeah. And then those 2 wins, big wins for them. I think Mansfield will be fine. Obviously, they've got Bradford, Rotherham to come. They've got Port Vale to come as well. So if they can just keep ticking along nicely and moving in the right direction, it'll be good. For Bolton, you feel the Bolton are moving in the right direction, but then go and lose. They don't score enough goals for me. They've only scored 30 this year, Bolton. 12 more Huddersfield. Stockport have scored more than them. They need to slowly start scoring more goals and show the dominance. They're a good side. They're a young side in transition, but they feel very new and put together right now. They don't quite finish the full end product. If Bolton can finish inside the playoffs this year, it'll be job done. I just feel with Bolton, and I said it when I made the video on them, hyping them up, there is just something in them. There's that you said, hot and cold, where you just know that they can go and win 3-4-0 against a Wigan at home, but can they go to Burton? Can they go to Northampton, which they struggle with notoriously, of being men, tussling up? And that's where the Mansfield win impressed me the most out of all the big wins. So, big win. Big win for Exeter yesterday. Now, Wimbledon, 9 without a win. You saw Wimbledon on Boxing Day. I said about 4 or 5 games ago that Wimbledon was sliding into it. Got quite a lot of hate over that call. And another month later or so, they've had some big games. Now, for me, they played Port Vale, Burton, Wigan, Mansfield and Stevenage, and Exeter have been their last 6 home games. They've only come away with 3 points in that time. Burton, they lost 1-0. Port Vale, they drew that game. Wigan, they lost 2-1 where they were 1-0 up. Mansfield was 0-0. And Stevenage and Exeter, they've not scored in. They were very good, competitive at the start of the year. They started like a house on fire, bulked the points together, but ultimately got to a point of 28 points where it felt like it almost feels like you are running a marathon and you basically started, you sprint, you've got to about 14 mile, and now you're thinking, 12 miles, I've got nothing left. And it's like, they probably peaked a little bit too early, and they probably just it's now about just slowing things down again, getting the next few miles done so they can get through the final hurdle, isn't it?
I do. I think that's a great analogy. I think they've hit the wall.
You get that being a runner as well.
I get what you mean. And by the way, it was beautifully put, by the way, because I would have used that one as well, mate. Look, I think Wimbledon have hit a wall, haven't they? I just want to say, by the way, I thought Exeter were fantastic yesterday, completely dominated the game. I watched the extended highlights this morning, chance after chance, should have won by more. Great finish from Wareham as well in the box, who I actually really like. I think Wareham's had a really, really decent season.
Good header, wasn't it? Looping header.
Really good header. Yeah, just kind of, a ball in, flash header across in the corner. Really good setup from Exeter. Wimbledon, defensively, I just thought were just way off it yesterday. I mean, I watched some of the chances Exeter had, and my word, I mean, there was a phase of play where Exeter should have scored. The keeper did really well to save it. You've got 3v1, and we're on about a simple ball through the line to the middle and they're away. And you're thinking, wow, I think it was Ryan Johnson at the back on his own at the time. And I'm fearful for Wimbledon nappers because I feel like with Wimbledon, they did brilliant for the first couple of months. Again, as you said, peaked. But again, it comes down to, and I said this about Doncaster, when I look at Wimbledon, have they got a proper League One team? And look, the Wimbledon fans might not like me saying this. I don't think they do. I look at Wimbledon's got. I think Matty Stevens is a really good, energetic striker. Thank you, Sue. I think Matty Stevens is a very energetic striker. He will score you goals from time to time. Ryan Johnson, I'm just not certain he's a proper League One defender. I look around this squad. Jake Reeves, who's a club legend of ours, by the way, absolutely love him.
He clapped him at Wembley. We're in the Walsall end.
Yeah, I did. I was there for Reevesy that day. I was there for Reevesy, right? To see him get promoted again, unbelievable. But Reevesy, I really like Reevesy. But when we played him, he looked out of place in the middle against Dan Phillips. I really do worry for Wimbledon. I think they are going to have to recruit in January because I look at them defensively, not that impressed. I look at their squad overall. I just don't see a League One outfit there. And I am fearful for them. But again, I just want to say, I thought Exeter, big win. Big win. Those, I feel like nappers, and I don't know if you agree, and I've been there as a Stevenage fan before. When you're a bottom team and you play those others, and I don't want to call Wimbledon a bottom team because they're ticking down. You have to try and win those games. You have to find ways to win the games. They get you points. They get you out the bottom four. And Exeter, that is a big win against, I think, a team in Wimbledon who will eventually be down in that bottom five. So, look, I think Exeter were brilliant. Massive win for them. They've got to try and make sure whenever they play those bottom teams, whenever they play Port Vale, they've got to pick up points. And they did that at Wimbledon yesterday.
I think the good thing with Exeter is, I was looking through, they've won 8 games this year. Now, they've won 7 of them with a clean sheet, which is massive for them, which is really good. And you look at it, they went away at Lincoln on a Saturday and found a way to win. They won away at Wycombe with one shot on target that night. They beat Peterborough at the time when Peterborough was struggling. They, beat Plymouth, which was a good win. They beat Blackpool, put some more misery, 4-1 win over them. Then they went on this spell where they lost to Port Vale at home, because you don't lose often by more goals. They lost to Port Vale 2-0 and lost to there was another one, I think, that they lost by more than one goal, and that Northampton was pretty much.
Well, I was just going to say it's Northampton,
yeah. But the good thing is with Exeter, they keep clean sheets when they win games of football. They've got 7. My issue is if they concede a goal, they don't get a point. That is my issue. So they've only won one game when they've conceded, and they've only drawn on a couple of occasions this year. They've lost 12. They need to find a way. If they concede one goal, draw 1-1, because you look at it, they've lost 1-0 at Huddersfield. They've lost by the odd goal at Stevenage. They should be 6 or 7 points better off for what they are. They're a hard-working team. I think Gary Cole's done an excellent job. I think they'll stay up because they've got a spirit that nobody else has. And I think they're a team that can go on a slump, but if you've got Exeter at home, you could easily come and see them frustrating you, winning 1-0 and finally go. Ware has been excellent. 10 goals in all competitions. He's been a player for them. I tell you who are struggling. Port Vale. Darren Moore has, since the last time we've been on here, has been sacked. I gave my opinion on him. Not a massive fan of him. I think it was the right call. Probably too late now, if I'm honest with you. What was your thoughts on Darren Moore and Port Vale, Farley?
Yeah, look, I think my opinion is exactly the same as yours. I think he just had to go for me. I mean, look, Nappers, when you're sitting here, your bottom, you've got 15 points. You're not really winning any games. You've lost 13. You've scored you've scored 13. You've conceded 30. You've got one of the worst goal differences. You've got to go, mate. And look, I think Port Vale will go down. I know that they could potentially get someone in. And look, we all know the myth of new magical, what they call it, manager bounce backs and all of that stuff. I'm not certain about Port Vale at all. I've been fearful of them. Again, I keep using this phrase tonight. I don't think they upgraded the squad before the season. It felt like they were Port Vale again. Although I know they've got Devante Cole up top, obviously with Tullis going to Plymouth, etc. But I just look at them and I just think, they're just missing so much in their squads, Port Vale. And look, you don't want to see a manager get fired, do you? Of course, you don't want to see someone lose their job. But when you look at the statistics and you look at the performances, of what they had under Darren Moore, unfortunately, I think he did have to go. And what I will say, look, they've given themselves a little bit of hope. Darren Moore's gone. They're coming to the January window. They'll have an opportunity to sign a new manager. With a new manager, with the new window, they might have a glimmer of hope where they can recruit, new manager can recruit, and they can start winning games and putting points together. But I think it's going to be a big ask for them, if I'm honest, going into the second half of the season now, because, you're sitting here, as we said, Nappers, right? We think this season you're going to need 50 points, but maybe just over 50 points to stay up. You're asking them to get over 35 with 24 games left to play. They picked up 15, So I'm just, I don't think they'll do it. But look, I think he had to go. And by the way, I just want to throw in there, I thought they did really well at Bradford yesterday. I thought, they made it difficult. They defended really well. Bradford, they made Bradford work hard. A really good finish by Bradford, by the way, in the end. But without Moore yesterday, they defended brilliant. They nearly nicked a point in the game. But yeah, for me, I think Moore had to go for me. If for any hope of them staying up, 1,000,000%.
If you look at Port Vale over the season, I don't think you can argue they've not been in games. They've lost heavily in games and they've not got good results, but they've been in games. Now, they lost at Rotherham opening day of the season 2-1. Burton away 0-0, you'd be thinking that's a game you want to win. Yeah. I remember on the 19th of August where Stevenage won their 2-1. Now, a couple of years ago, Port Vale were 2-0 up against Fleetwood with 2 minutes to go. Stockport scored twice for Fleetwood. And I remember saying, that's why Vale are where they are, because the mentality isn't there. I went, this Vale group with different players, different manager, but same manager. I'm always out there that night actually, but it felt like here we go again until I actually scored for Port Vale. That moment seemed to be the catalyst. Then Doncaster go there and win by a goal to nil with their only shot on target. And then Reading away, they all lose 1-0. So you think in the fine margin they're improving. The Leyton Orient game, they conceded late. They should have at minimum have got a point out of that. Then the revival comes. They beat Exeter, they beat Mansfield, they beat Barnsley. They win 3 in a row. And you're thinking, brilliant, hunky dory going into October. The Northampton game at the time felt a good point because it was like, both sides will think 6-pointer, you don't lose it. Go away at Wimbledon, get a point. So this was only 2 months ago, by the way, that Port Vale were picking up points that they should have done, that they weren't earlier. Then they lost away at Wigan 1-0, and it almost felt like that day, they weren't great that day, but Wigan weren't that great that day. And it was, they probably have lost 3 games, they should have got 3 points out of. Then they played Stockport on that Monday night, and on Sky on Monday night, they looked dreadful. They could have lost that 5 or 6. Then they lost 4-0 away at Bolton, and you felt like, for 20 minutes, Stockport, Vale had Bolton by the ruff of the neck, and it just felt like, here we go again. And since then, they've just lost 5 margin football matches at Lincoln against Plymouth.
Wigan.
Yeah, exactly. Luton, they got a point, and you thought, Peterborough. So they've not been getting back, Huddersfield, they've not been getting battered, but they just felt the negativity around the club. They've just not got that ounce about them to go and get points. And that is ultimately where Port Vale are where they are. And the fan base is brilliant, Vale Park. They deserve so much better than what they're getting. I think they'll win a few games before now the end of the year, don't get me wrong. Quickly on Bradford, 29 points from 12 home games, won 9 of them. 10 of their games this year have come by the odd goal. They've won 1-0 4 times, 3 of which at home. Big win for them at home. Bradford are keeping in track with the top 2 after a bit of a buffer where they were drawing games, not really losing. They've only lost 3 in 22, which is the fewest this year, but they've won 5 of the last 6. Moving on quickly now forward to the last 2. Plymouth 1, Wycombe 1. Plymouth have improved, haven't they, of late? 4 wins in 8. Those 4 wins they come at Port Vale, Wycombe, rather than Doncaster. Society you'd expect them maybe to win against, really. There's been some poor defeats in there, Northampton, Bradford and Reading. Where do you stand on Plymouth?
Do you know what, right? I'm really happy you've asked this question because I've watched Plymouth quite a lot over the last month. Well, no, I'd say longer, a couple of months. Because I'll be honest with you, Baffers, they baffle me, right? Plymouth Argyle absolutely baffle me, right? So I think when you look at the goals, they've shown they can score goals. They've got players to score goals. They've got Toller up front, who's, as we know, as we saw at Port Vale, really, really credible goal scorer. He's in the top 3 for goals this season. Brilliant, right? But they baffle me. When you have a look at their form and you see 13 defeats and just 2 draws, they're just losing too many games. They haven't got the ability to draw. Do you know what? I have this massive debate with everyone at our club, and I go, when you're a bottom side, draws are so important. All right, they're not wins, but they get you points, they get you results. And you look at Plymouth, and for me, to see 13 defeats and 2 draws, for Plymouth Argyle, that is a huge concern. And this is the thing as well, Nappers, right? With Plymouth, we mentioned it earlier about hot and cold. They remind me of that. How can you go and win 5-1 at Doncaster and then lose 4-1 against Reading? There's just no, you win that game, you just don't lose that game. End up losing it 4-1. Plymouth are a really odd one for me. I'd like to think that Plymouth will improve as the season goes on. I've been saying that for a month now. It still hasn't happened. Will January help them? I think it will. But they absolutely baffle me. I think when you're a bottom team, you have to try and get draws on the board. And when you're losing 13 games in this division, you're not putting any points on the board. You're not getting any results. Concerning for me, Plymouth Argyle should never be down in the bottom 4 of this division, especially where they were. Do you know what I mean? So baffling, mate, Plymouth. And we play them next. We play them New Year's. We've got them in a couple of days at home. So I'm intrigued to see them when we play them because they absolutely baffle me, Plymouth.
Absolutely agree. They are picking up points now, which is good. And look at it, 10 points across the last 6 available. You're looking at Bolton have only picked up that in the last 6. Huddersfield are only a point better off, and they've won the last 3. Stockport have picked up that. So if you keep performing, eventually you will get out of it. Eventually, Peterborough 1, Reading 1. Another good point for Reading away from home. The 10th now. They've moved up the table quite a lot. Peterborough thought that probably should have got 3 points in this one. They did everything they could, but not win it. Had lots of shots. They were good again at home. And again, how close this league is for Peterborough. If they'd have won it, they'd have gone to 31 points and been in 9th, just 6 points off the playoffs. They had 1 point after the first 7, Matt. Only drawing 1. But since they've won 9, they've drawn 1. They've only lost 4. They've been excellent since Luke Williams has come into the football club. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, mate. By the way, I just want to say I thought Peterborough were absolutely brilliant in this game, and they'll be disappointed not to come away with this win. 20 shots in the game, dominated the shooting statistics, dominated the possession stats. They had 68% possession in this match against Reading, and they find themselves 1-0 down in this game. They come back to score the goal. Really impressed, actually. One thing that and I've been tracking Peterborough the last few matches because they're on a good run at the minute. And actually, so are Reading. Reading have, last few games are unbeaten. It's the shooting and the chance creation statistics for me, Nappers. Little stat for you. Did my homework today because I'm coming for Jake Tong's job. He won't whip these statistics out, let me tell you. Right?
Oh, no, he's very basic, mate.
Yeah, very basic. Peterborough United, and I found this statistic earlier. Peterborough United, over their last 5 matches, because they've got 4 wins, 1 draw, their chance creation in all 5 of these matches have averaged at 75.5% in these games. Now, if we compare that to other teams in the division, they are up there with Bradford, with Lincoln, with other sides like this. Really impressive. And you see it in the statistics yesterday. Again, 20 shots on target, creating chances. So it's really impressive under Luke Williams. I think they've done brilliantly. The league's so open. They've flown up the division. I mean, they're, second bottom? I think they were a couple of months ago. Really impressive. And again, Reading, they'll be happy with the point. I thought Peterborough were the better side yesterday. Reading also unbeaten in 3, climbing up the division, up in 10th. I thought they were a little bit of a false position when we played them in November and lost to them. So, but no, Luke Williams doing a really good job, really good manager. I like Williams. And I think they're going to be fine, Peterborough. I really do.
What do you reckon anyone else, we'll look at the table in a minute, but is there anyone, because there's a big gap, we mentioned how close it is at the bottom, but there's a big kind of gap now between 8th and 9th, there's 6 points. Can anyone close that gap, do you reckon, Matt?
Oh, mate, honestly, I have no idea with this division. By the way, I just want to throw my hat in there. I've never known a division like this where the point margin from the bottom 3, it's unbelievable to about 9th. I think if I'm looking at
from Doncaster.
No, I think it does. I genuinely think because they're on
22, aren't they?
So they're only 7 points from 9th, if my maths correct, right? Which is, if Doncaster win 2 games in a row, they could potentially be about 13th. or 12th. It's just mental. In my honest opinion, looking at the division, I look down the bottom of it. I think, and I've got it up in front of me now. I'm fearful of Wimbledon. Do you know what I'm going to say? If Plymouth can recruit well in January, right, and because we know that they can score goals and they can win games, they went on a run a few games ago. I actually think Plymouth Argyle could potentially come up the division a bit. And I actually...
How far up the division?
Mid-table to 30.
They're not that far up, are they?
They're not. And I think with Tolle up top, they've got goals. I think they need to improve defensively. They need to improve getting results. I think they're potentially a team that you would keep your eye on around February time after they had a month from Jan. I think a little bit further field. I like what Blackpool are doing with Ian Everett. I think they're doing really well at the minute. Again, Luke Williams of Peterborough. Again, the division is so open. I mean, you could pick any one of these teams. I mean, heck, we were even talking about Mansfield earlier, beating back-to-back wins against top teams. So I like the look at Blackpool. I think Blackpool could find themselves in the top 10 if they keep going the way they're going. What about you, mate? Are there any teams that you think could potentially come with a run, dare say it, because it's so open?
I think that Orient will go up a few places. I think we'll see that. I think Peterborough will go up a few places. I can see Blackpool. I won't be surprised if they finish inside the top 6, I'm honest with you. Genuinely, knowing what that football club's like, late runs, believe me.
Cold weather.
I think Barnsley, if they get things right, they can ultimately go and win but I think Barnsley are a mid-table League One side right now. I think sides that I see struggling, I think, if you ask me for my bottom 4 now, I think Port Vale, Doncaster, Wimbledon, and one of Exeter, Northampton or Burton. I think that'll be my bottom 4 right now. I think there'll be slides, and I think we're seeing slides from Port Vale. We've seen a slide from Doncaster. I think Rotherham are in real trouble. A lot of people predicted Rotherham for relegation in the summer. I think I predicted them just outside of the relegation zone. I thought they'd really, really struggle. I didn't think they had the goals. That's Sam Nombe. They struggle. They've got no creativity. I feel they're very basic. I think tactically they're not very good. And I think that Plymouth are better than them. I think Exeter have got a bit more about them. Northampton got a bit more steel about them. But it could all change. And look at the top half. I think Wigan are in a bit of a false position. I don't think Wigan have been makes Wigan look half decent. I think that they've always found a way to win when they've needed it. Mansfield are probably a little bit higher than they should be, but again, they've still been very solid and where they are for a reason. Reading have been, they started off drawing a lot, weren't winning. They've changed the manager. They've just won a few and lost less, which is good. Wycombe went on that really good run under Dorford. Seems to maybe of debt like kind of stalled in process a little bit. If you would have won the 2 Christmas fixtures, 34-3 off the playoffs, but it's fine margins. Luton are coming good. Stevenage are just 14 points off safety now, and then build on that. Can Stevenage stay there, Farley? Can they?
Do you know what? I was just going to jump in and say, and again, being the most positive Stevenage Football Club fan, that was going to happen. But, mate, honestly, I really, really believe in our squad and what we created for this massive season. And I know that when January comes, we know the areas that we need to improve in to be a top 6 team. We know that. And look, I don't want this to sound like, oh, come on, you're Stevenage, be realistic. But we know what we created. We know we created a top half League One team. And we know if we get the recruitment right in those specific areas around Jamie Reid, and we get that right, we have got a top 8 squad here. And I really believe we can stay up there. I think what's important for us, and look, Nap, as you say on all your shows, home form for us. Let's get back picking up points at home. We haven't had a home win since Luton, which was the start of October. Really important. What I was going to ask you is, when you look at this top, I'm fascinated by the top of the league, because I don't know about you. I think Cardiff will go on to win the division. I think, for me, I think they'll go on to win it. But you see Luton are going to get better. Bolton are in there now. Huddersfield are 5th. Stockport. When I was looking at this a couple of weeks ago, I was going, well, I think it's either going to be us, Bradford or Lincoln, which are going to be the teams that might slip for Huddersfield, Bolton, Stockport, Luton. But in your opinion, is that the case? Or do you think
I mean, you look at Lincoln, for example. 23 games left. I think if they got another 32 points from 23 games, which is 64 points, which will probably get you 12th or 11th, where Lincoln have been these last few years, bar the season they missed out on the playoff. Most of the time they've been mid-table League One, haven't they? Which is good. Good for them. I think if they act like a 9th place side, now they get in the playoffs, bare minimum. But you want to go in with some momentum. I think Stockport will get better. I think Bradford will be steady away. I think there'll be a period in the season where Bradford do not win games of football. And I think the one thing is with them is they win fine margin football matches. Now, the way they play is very ferocious and attacking heavy. Alexander's football is Fleetwood, Scunthorpe, Salford, Motherwell, wherever he's been at that time at Bradford, it turns those 1-0 wins where he's bringing on defenders and you're scrapping it out and he's the best thing since sliced bread. You're digging out. All of a sudden becomes a dinosaur and it becomes a little bit boring. And there'll be a question. I think there'll be a period in the season where Bradford go 4 or 5 games where they are tested. They'll lose a few, but I think ultimately they'll get into the playoffs. I think Cardiff will go all the way. I think that 22 games. This next 6-8 weeks is going to be tough, but I think they've come through the first half of the yellow ball season really well. I think Bolton, I think that they're a glorious side, but they've not got enough warriors. I think that might be their undoing. I think Luton might come in. I think it's just going to be, I can't predict it, Matt. Generally, I cannot.
So what I've gathered from that is you're saying, you know what, Matt? Stevenage have got a chance, pal. They've got a chance.
I think they have. I think Stevenage have got a chance if the other 23 teams don't turn up.
Yeah. What, just settle for those 1-0ers?
Stevenage can have a 1-0 win. I must say, by the way, as we come to the end of the show, you've been amazing tonight, Matt. So thank you so much for coming on. You've been absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you something, mate. You've given me some thinking to do.
I mean, look, I'm very open to negotiations. I'll keep it. What I'll do, I'll keep an eye on the email for the contract.
Yeah.
I'm very much, and let me tell you, by the way, just for the listeners, I am cheaper than Jay Tom. I will undercut him. Nappers.
He's expensive, Jay. You know.
Oh,
he's a prima donna. You know.
Arrogance and.
And the thing is, Farley, you don't get too excitable after your team wins, do you? You'd never do that.
You should come and spend a weekend with me, and mate, you'll see all about it, mate. Honestly, do you know what it is? I'm just like Andy says it. I'm just like an excitable puppy, mate. I just love my boys. I love my team, and I'd do anything for them. I think Jake is, he's expensive, and he's, I don't know, he doesn't give you that factor that, I can bring you. I've loved it. Honestly, I've loved it.
A big thanks to Shane for the donation. As always, mate, thank you so much. Hope you had a lovely Christmas and have a good New Year. But big thanks to Matt. A bit of a round of applause for Matt in the chat as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will get
very much. I appreciate you, mate. If you could all give us a like to end the show, that'd be appreciated. Matt, what are you thinking for Stevenage New Year's Day?
Ooh, look, I think we're going to win the game. I think it's a tough game. Plymouth, as we said earlier, they score goals. They're known to. Look, really big game for us. Want to get back with a win at home. We haven't done that since Luton. And a really important game for this team. We want to start winning football matches consistently again, like we've done for a lot of this season. So we know that we need to improve in January. Let's get a win against Plymouth. I think the boys will. They play to the levels that we've seen a lot of times this season. Did it against Stockport a few weeks ago. They'll win and they'll beat Plymouth and Orient on the Sunday. So, I think we'll win the game. And look, I just love him. Big goal, Reedy. He's going to score on Thursday. Sorry, not Saturday. I think we'll win the game. I think we'll win.
Matt, thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Until next time, I will see you later. Busy one, we are back here on, what day is it now? Monday? No, Friday. Friday. We're back here. Friday, 3 days' time, another League One like. So get liking, get subscribing, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching.